So we've got 3 different questions here that I've picked out of many different questions that I'm going to answer. I get a lot of these in my Instagram stories, so I thought I'd pick out 3 different types of questions that are stemming from different issues. Will having a trading community make me succeed? Now, these kind of questions, they come from the mindset of over-reliance, right? Where people are always relying on something but themselves. Now, this is a two-sided answer to this question. It's a yes and no answer, right? First of all, why I think not is because you're not going to be there to learn off of someone who's come in 3 weeks, brand new, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, a year. You're learning off people like your coaches or your mentors who've been there and done it, right? That's the most important part. And now when you combine that with social media, where you've got now the Dragon's Den of trading reviews, where people are just so lost in this world of trying to help everybody else, figure out where they should learn to trade, when they've not even helped themselves. This is the industry that we're falling into now. People are so unbothered about, let me become profitable, let me actually be able to back what I'm saying with skill and performance, right, before I start giving advice to people. I fell into this trap a long time ago, where I would try to bite more than I could chew. I made a couple of little tweaks and adjustments in my trading, and I thought, now that qualifies me to give people advice that are actually 10 steps ahead of me, and that comes back to bite you. And that's really important to understand. So don't bite more than you can chew, and remember, learn off of a select few people within your trading circle, be it your coaches or your mentors, whether that's one person or a few. If you listen to too many people at once, you are literally setting yourself up to fail. Trust me on that. If you don't believe me, try it. So the other side to that is, if you're on your own, it's also a very dark place to be, because the last thing you want, and this ties into the second question slightly as well, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you've actually gained some sort of profitability, and you're actually scaling up now, but you can't deal with the emotions of winning, right? So the second question, which is how to deal with losing, is sort of going to answer that as well. People don't talk about dealing with winning because a lot of people don't win, unfortunately, in the industry. That's the truth. They win for a little bit, they have the honeymoon period, they have that dopamine hit, but that winning doesn't last long because it was built off of weak foundations and a weak mindset and excitement. It's very easy to get excited when there's money involved, right? Believe me, you can change the way someone thinks entirely, and people's goals and beliefs, their morals and values and their humility can get thrown right out the window as soon as you give them a 10 grand check. So people don't talk about dealing with winning. And so when you do start to win, it's a lot more of a dark place to be, believe it or not, as opposed to when you lose, right? When I scaled up my capital, the first thing that I was hit with when I was dealing with or trying to deal with winning was, is this gonna last? Am I worthy of this? All these kind of things, self-image issues, scarcity issues. What if this is just luck? How long can I carry this on for? What if this is just good market conditions? And a lot of that got undone, and the kinks got ironed out with market experience, right? So the more skin in the game that you get, doing the right things under foundations and actual boundaries, as I talked about in the podcast at Falcon, you actually build true and proper experience. It's like, if I give you an example, let's say I teach you to fix a mobile phone, but I'm teaching you in the incorrect way, right? And you go ahead for the next 5 years and you start to fix mobile phones in that particular method that I taught. Have you built true proper experience, or have you just built negative experience? So people always tend to count, I've been trading this many years, but have you been doing it right from the get-go? Have you been following proper boundaries from the get-go? So that's the importance of a trading community. Not only can you see that your mistakes aren't one-sided and singular to yourself and individual to yourself, but you can start to see that actually it's a normality to go through these ebbs and flows, different for everybody, because everybody's got different background, right? I suggest people can go and study Erik Erikson, Psychosocial Stages of Development, and really map that to yourself and understand how certain things that you've experienced growing up can actually affect your model of thinking now, right? So that's why everyone's journey is a little bit different, so to speak. So it's actually foolish to compare yourself to someone else. But if you're on social media constantly and you're listening to 100 different people at once, don't be surprised if you get caught up into that dissatisfaction state of comparing yourself. It robs you of your joy. And also, second part of that, and I'm talking on behalf of Falcon because this is the community that I'm part of, right? So you can say it's biased, but I'm being unbiased at the same time. I've seen a lot of different people come and go over the past 6 years. A lot of different people come and go. People that you think are so switched on, but the moment they hit with, not a little bit of struggle, good amount of struggle for a little bit of time, and they're tested and they're challenged, they'll cripple and they fall. Like I said, all those morals and goals and that strong mindset, all that talk becomes cheap and it gets thrown out the window. So you've got to back what you say from the get-go and stick by it no matter what. You've got to die by your word. So Falcon, we've got so many things coming. I'm telling you, even I can't comprehend at times. In the next 3 to 5 years, obviously I can't give away too much, but once students start scaling up to the 7-figure amount, keeping in mind, people watching this might think, yeah, maybe not. People thought the same thing about the fund. A lot of people left at the time because they thought the fund was being kicked down the road and they thought, you know, this is never going to happen. And lo and behold, we've not affiliated with this fund. We have our own in-house fund, big difference. So when people do start to scale up to 7 figures, which will happen for those that are switched on and don't obviously just quit on themselves, which a lot of people do in the industry, when those people start making that money, we're going to have organizations in place where they can invest their money into assets and allocate capital properly, charities, these kind of things, where we can literally change the game and change the way globally and actually bring back professionalism in the space. I've only given a keyhole of information there, but there is absolutely tons of stuff that we're going to do. And once it gets written down on paper, it gets done. So that sort of ties into dealing with losing as well. Dealing with losing is the easiest part of it. You build your experience in this industry by losing. You have to understand that. Of course, you can understand the biological trace markers of what happens before you take a trade, and you can regulate that, emotional regulation and also physical muscle tension relief, right? So if you're actually feeling tense in your body, there's many different ways to do that. I'm not going to talk about that entirely in this video because that's a separate thing, but understanding emotional regulation is something you can go away and work on. But like I said, just understanding that alone is not going to make a difference. It's one part of the puzzle. You know, it's like trying to hit bags and pads, but you never actually step into the ring to fight. It's a different emotional game. Study athletes, study Tyson, study Muhammad Ali, study famous fighters, specifically in combat sports, right? Obviously it's not limited to combat sports, but it's a good place to start. And look at how well managed and composed these guys were in the ring. These athletes, these world-class champions, how well composed they were. Look at Kobe Bryant. Look how well composed they were. So it's about your ability to apply your knowledge under pressure. So if you're losing consistently and you're doing nothing about it, right, you just sat there thinking, oh, I'm just going to move on to the next probabilities, right? It's a silly mindset to be in. That's not how you think in probabilities. Reading Trading in the Zone is not going to help you think in probabilities, I'm sorry. It's going to help you understand the construct of why thinking in probabilities is important. It's going to help you understand the psychology importance, but it's not going to allow you to practically apply that in a way that suits you, right? We've got our own program at Falcon called Rewired, if people haven't already seen. I will tag them in this video, in this clip. Go and see and study that content, right? Go and buy it, see it for yourself. I'm telling you, if it didn't make a difference, I wouldn't mention it, right? It's a different light. This is not like reading Trading in the Zone or reading Trading Psychology 2.0 where they give you a blueprint. This is a blueprint plus action on how to apply that blueprint. More so how to strip the layers from your mind that are stopping you from seeing into your mind. That's the real goal of it. So when you can understand these things and you can apply them effectively and efficiently, and you can learn how to apply your knowledge under pressure, under different types of pressure, investor capital, personal trading account, and also funded capital are 3 different forms of pressure. And you see the industry today has only experienced one side of that, which is funded capital. You know, for some people that's fine because they've not got access to someone that they know that's actually wealthy, or they've not actually tried and source an investor. Not everyone has to nowadays. But there's also an issue in that where they don't have an intention to anymore, right? You've got to have all these things locked in place in your mind, a network of people, not people who moan and complain all the time. You want a network of people that are switched on, some people even outside of your industry, so that when you need them, you've got them, right? That needs to be your focus for the next 5 to 10 years. Not just building the skill of trading, but building the skill of having a strong network. And having an investor allows you to do that. You know, so you should see your funding account or funding program or whatever it is as a track record builder to go out and seek an investor in the future. You know, we've got methods for this that we explain to the students in the community. So you've got to have all these things in lock. And you know, a lot of people nowadays are literally being coached and mentored of people who've never had anything more than a funded account. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous in my opinion. Honestly, it's pretty unfortunate and sad. You know, so apply knowledge under pressure, gain experience, skin in the game, understand the body and the mind, understand how it works. And then dealing with the psychology of dealing with losses will become so much easier. But remember, don't be scared of that. You should be more worried and prepared for, not worried, but you should be more concerned for dealing with wins. Because when you hit with wins, you want to be able to keep winning over a period of time and keep performing. There's an art to that. There's an art to winning and there's an art to losing and trading. You've got to know someone, or you've got to be learning off of someone that knows the art of both. And final question, this also links into everything I've said as well, is The psychological background of traders who remain trapped in a loop. The psychological background of traders who remain trapped in a loop. A loop meaning that they're continuing the same experiences again and again. Nothing's changing for them, right? They're still losing, they win sometimes, they lose sometimes, etc. But they're going up and down in the equity curve over a period of time. The progression curve is not actually progressive, it's stagnant. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. The psychological background is this. They fail to stick at one thing for a long enough period of time. And also, what a long enough period of time is, they've got that wrongly defined, incorrectly defined in their mind. Why? Because again, they're listening to hundreds of different people on social media. Half of these people, their life isn't the way that they paint it, I promise you now. And you can never judge what goes on behind closed doors. A lot of these people that are giving you all this glamorous advice saying, yeah, look, I did this and I did that, so you should do it too. Half of them haven't got this shit figured out, right? Just because that they dress smart and they look good or whatever. It's ironic because I'm dressed smart as well. Just because they've painted the picture well doesn't mean that's actually the case, right? True trading performance, it's a skill that takes a long time, but it can only be effectively materialized if you're learning off of someone who knows their stuff very, very well, right? And don't think that, if I just learn a little bit of content and watch some videos over a period of time, then, eventually I'm going to win. No, this is a constant mentorship thing. We've had so many questions from people before that have said, why would you want to pay a monthly subscription? That's just a scam. I promise you, I can literally, we're in the game of speculation. That's what we do as traders. I can speculate that 99% of these people will never make it anywhere in life. And that's not me being a pessimistic dick, right? I'm just being completely honest there because I've seen it over the past 6 years myself. So I've got a right to an opinion there, because an opinion is slowly seeping into a fact, as what I've seen over time, So you've got to stick at one thing and master it. Now, of course, everyone has the experiences of they learn, not the incorrect system, but they learn a system that's not too proficient and so on and so forth. But that was 10 years ago, 5-10 years ago. Nowadays, you've got social media, like I said, you've got people, praying to be hired to work on Dragon's Den for trading reviews. And you've got all these different boats of information around you as to which different systems, you should try and trade. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, neither does it take Einstein to figure out which system is all these systems are profitable, right? To what degree, I don't know. I'm only talking on behalf of how I trade, right? How we trade at Falcon has been literally not even just tested, but traded for a very, very long time on large capital, not funded capital on loan, large amounts of investor capital, right? So it's built off of substance. You can't tell me that if you've built your system off of a few little bits here and there and concepts that you presume work because you've tested it a little bit, you can test flipping 100 years of data. It doesn't make a difference. How you actually emulate the performance in the live markets and make adjustments and tweaks off of that through actual experience in the game makes a difference. Not just back-tested data, especially on funded capital alone. This is an arena where you've got to test yourself in all areas. Don't be scared of that. You can't be weak. But my point being with all this is that it's not hard to find a method nowadays that works. That's not the issue. The issue is finding a group and a space, as we talked about before, where the guys that you're learning off of, right, your mentor or coaches, have your best interests at heart and not only paint the picture that they do or give you the false illusion that they do, but they actually have your best interests at heart. And that they're actually going somewhere beyond, oh, we're just going to give you funding and you can be trading 6-7 figures one day. That's dead, right? It's honestly, if I heard that coming in, I'd be completely put off. There's got to be more to it than that. Trading is more than just trading. More people could understand this and get this into their brains and their thick skulls. They realize, right, all the issues that are painting this picture here. Trading is far more than trading. This is not about reading the charts alone. You've got to have skills outside of trading that emulate back into your trading, right? You've got to have people, you won't learn how to get in shape of someone who's out of shape, right? You just won't. And even personal training, if we look at that in my gym, there's even personal trainers that are not in shape. They're just textbook masters, and there's the same thing in the trading industry where they're textbook masters. They've just back tested their entire life, but they're not actually proper substance and experience to their trading. You need to be a well-rounded trader, and to be a well-rounded trader, you need to learn off someone who is a well-rounded trader. If you're sat around a group of high net worth people and all you know to talk about is the charts and nothing else, you think they're going to care about what you got in your back testing results? They're not going to give a damn. You've got to be a well-rounded individual, professional individual, and you've got to carry yourself as one, right? And you can't do that, and you can't carry yourself and talk and walk and have body language like a professional if you're not around professional people. It's the facts of it, right? You are literally, everyone knows this, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. You might be someone who says that, but still doesn't acknowledge it, you know? So you gotta have big levels set for yourself beyond just trading. Trading is a vehicle, right? A vehicle that provides for future possibilities, big possibilities, and everyone's goals are different. Depends what size your goals are. So think of it that way. Get around yourself, get yourself around people that are thinking very, very large, and you'll thank yourself. And you'll realize it's not just about trading the charts or reading the charts, or looking the smartest or feeling the smartest on the charts. When you understand how the industry is really engineered and how it's actually built up of these specific foundations, you'll realize a very, very harsh reality as to what kind of game that you're in.